All right, guys, I am super excited for this. I'm going to be doing a book review of the book called Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. So I will say before I start that I will be giving away spoilers to the book. Just there will be spoilers. So if you don't want to watch this, scroll away. I read a chapter a night for a while, and then I got so hooked by the book, I had to keep reading until I was done with it. It didn't take me that long. Imagine you wake up from a coma and your location is unknown. What is known is that 2 of the passengers that are next to you are dead. Looking around, you find out you're in a spaceship, close to a sun, but not our sun. And that's when things get interesting. Now, this book is narrated as if we are in the character's head. The character I'm referring to is Dr. Grace. Dr. Grace is a well-known molecular biologist, but he's now a high school teacher because of his past that has kind of pushed him to just go to teaching. He was almost canceled in a way. As Dr. Grace unravels the mystery as why he is in space and has the knowledge he possesses, we begin to learn why and how he got to where he's at. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the first part of the book, super sciencey. And by sciencey, I mean there's a lot of math terms, there's a lot of math or science lingo of how things work, why things work, and how we basically get to the point of him being in space. Personally, I enjoy that kind of stuff, but it gets very interesting when outside his spaceship window, he sees another spaceship. Houston, we have made contact. Now, as we go throughout the book, it does a lot of flashbacks to say how Dr. Grace got into this predicament, because he wakes up in a coma or from a coma. So he doesn't have very good memory. He doesn't remember who he is, why he's there, why he's got 2 dead people next to him, why he's on a spaceship, what he's doing out in the spaceship. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and they do a very good job throughout the book and keeping you very engaged. For being space, like, there's not a lot out there. However, they kept this book so entertaining and so well-paced that you don't get bored of it. I just love how the inner workings, that you get the inner monologue from Dr. Grace, and basically learning how he got there, how he remembers stuff. The more he remembers, the more flashbacks we get, and we're like, oh, that's why he's got here. But eventually we begin to learn why he's in space. We learn that Earth is being attacked by this thing called, what he comes up with is called astrophage. Now, astrophage is basically a microorganism that feeds off the energy of the sun, aka it's just killing our sun because it just eats the sun. It's a very slow process, but it does it over time. So Earth was given about 27 years or so to live before basically humanity will just be wiped out because these astrophage are just going around eating stars, destroying their energy. They figure out that in one of these star systems, Tau Ceti, that Tau Ceti is not actually being consumed by said astrophage. So they collectively, and this is where I find it kind of hard to believe, is they collectively as a whole species, because humans are basically, like, everything's gonna die, so we all have to come together, so we all have world connection and like everyone's working together, Russians are working with us, everyone's working with everyone. There is no borders per se anymore. And in being able to do so, they have to have this very high top military person that has clearance over everything to get this project done. And this is the Project Hail Mary. So now enter in Dr. Ryland Grace. Now, he is brought in because of his past work in molecular biology and the fact that he was canceled. Because of his thought process and how he worked, he was the one that got chosen to come do some sort of inspection on the astrophage that they've collected from space and brought back. And so, based on his findings, he determined that these astrophage, which are super microorganism, can hold, they have an average temperature of 96.415 degrees. So right around a body temperature. However, on the inside of these guys, they have about 1.5 megajoules of energy. This now just made space travel completely possible. Once they figure out the astrophage, they need to come up with a plan. They figure out their plan. They're like, hey, we need to send someone to the star system Tau Ceti, which is 12 light years away or something like that. It's pretty far, super far. So they said it's going to take about 13 years or so to get to Tau Ceti. So they need to put the people that go into space through something called a coma, or a sleeping coma, to best ensure their survival and they don't go mad or crazy. So it just makes space travel a little bit faster and easier for said human. Oh, so we're caught up on how he got there and why he got there. To study the astrophage and send the findings back to Earth in hopes that we can find a way to get rid of the astrophage and save humanity. No one ever said anything about running into another spaceship. You know, for meeting an alien for the first time, I 100% believe that this is the only way to do it. It needs to be a one-on-one experience. You have to have plenty of time to talk to said alien, and no government's involved. Can you imagine if our government was involved and we found aliens for the first time? You know how fast they would dissect that, they would destroy it. But not Dr. Ryland Grace. No, this alien is not what you expect. You're probably expecting something with green head, big eyes, maybe tall, humanoid-like. No. This alien is more like a, I don't want to describe. He's more of a rock-like creature with 5 legs, or 5 arms, however you want to call it. Basically, 3 legs and 2 arms. I think that's how they want to describe it in the book. And each arm is has joints, but at the end of their hands or the claws, it's It's like fingers, but with each finger has 3 different fingers attached to it. So it's almost like this. He's got 5 of them, and they also wear clothes. They have a little ragged, almost like a shirt, but it's got 5 armholes for said claws, and then he also has a piece of cloth that's over his carapace. He's almost described as a rock spider. It's pretty interesting considering there's another movie that just came out, I think it was last year, the one with Adam Sandler, and that one is good, but it also depicted a spider alien, and pretty crazy. Coincidence? Probably, but you never know. Anyway, the communication with him, it starts with a simple flash on the screen. Ryland noticed something. He noticed that there was a flash, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna go investigate and figure out if they can respond and whatnot. They figure out how to communicate based on simple objects, and this alien is very, very, very good at building, super good at quick construction, especially when they got this. His ship is made out of something called xenonite, which is based on his planet, and the xenonite can come in a liquid or a metal, and when it's in a liquid, you can basically make it any shape you want, and it's almost indestructible. At least in terms of Earth capabilities, is indestructible. We do not have the capabilities to cut into acidic xenonite, but this guy does. Oh, I will also say that this body-like structure runs above 200 degrees Celsius. That's fucking hot. He's hot. He is basically a radiator. He is just radiating heat, and he breathes, I think he breathes ammonia, so he always has this ammonia smell. Anyway, all right. So they eventually, with Time to Kill, they figure out how to talk to each other, and they figure out that, hey, we want to meet. Let's figure out how to meet. So the alien builds up a tunnel. I don't know how else you want to describe it. They describe it as a tunnel, but basically, the spider rock-like creature creates a xenonite tunnel that has a barrier in the middle, but the xenonite can go clear. They can turn it so you can see right through it. So he makes a clear wall so everybody can see. It's got its own air. It's crazy. These aliens are freaking whoa. And he's not even the smartest one. He's just the last one that survived on his ship, because they also didn't quite understand why is he the only one? Why did everyone else die? Why are only these 2 people? Why did they survive? Well, they found out that it's because of the astrophage. This astrophage is also great at protecting from radiation, and the spider happened to be next to where all the astrophage are in his ship, so he survived based on them, and probably did the same thing for Dr. Ryland. The other 2 just didn't survive the coma experience. It wouldn't be much of a book if everything went smoothly. So they figured out a plan, and the plan was to to use the astrophage to get over to the planet of Tau Ceti, somehow take their spaceship, fly it over the planet without stopping. They can't stop, otherwise they'll decay into the planet and crash and die. Not good. However, they decided to, they're we're going to cruise 285 miles an hour over the planet in try and get in a stable orbit, but they have to do it a special way or they'll just burn the fucking atmosphere based on the astrophage jet lines. Basically, it's so strong that it'll just vaporize anything that's there, so they don't want to accidentally vaporize the atmosphere that they're currently trying to go through. So they do their best guess with the math and how to make things work. And they come up with this crazy fucking plan. This plan is to create a chain that is made out of xenonite and is 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers long. It took them about 2 weeks to build, and it's just little chain after little chain after little chain after little chain. And then they have to take that chain, go outside the spaceship while it's still in orbit, and then one by section, just throw the chain down so it doesn't get all tangled up as it falls into place. So it's just there goes a little bit, there goes another little bit, and it goes all the way till 10 kilometers. Stuff starts to go awry. The ship starts to make some crazy sounds, very creaking. It's all the sensors are going off, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But they need to get this. They need to get their plan, which was they connect a little box-like thing, which is just going to collect a predator from the planet, they think once they figure out the predator, then they should figure out how that predator eats the astrophage and hopefully figure out how to replicate that and make it so it can fix their planet by eating their astrophage back on their home planets. Well, it's going all smooth and fine until they're coming up, and then sensors start going off, crazy readings, and it's like he's getting the thing back up based on like a winch that they've created, and as they're coming back in, like shit's just gone haywire. They start like decaying into the planet a little bit, and like their thing is spinning super fast. They're going almost at like 6 Gs at this point. Like he can barely fucking move. He's about to pass out. They're not allowed to be in each other's environment. So Rocky, the alien, that's what he named him anyway. He named the alien Rocky because he looks like a rock. Broke out of his little terrarium, whatever you want to call it, space bubble, in order to save his human friend from dying. But in doing so, he risked his life and almost died. And so once Dr. Grace wakes up, he has to then save Rocky and put him into like his own space, because even though when he touches Rocky, he burns because he's radiating fucking heat. He's super hot to touch. But they end up saving each other, but now they've got to figure out how to save or put together this predator that they found after they try and fix the ship that's now being destroyed, because they figured out the predator somehow got into the ship, and when it was in the ship, it started to eat all their astrophage, so all their fuel just died. Like the Tau Amoeba, what do they call it, this predator, just ate all their fuel. Just right then and there, just boom, fuel's all gone. Fuck. What are you gonna do now? You have no idea what to do. You're just sitting duck in space. Well, they figured out that they need to steal some of the astrophage from the probes, the probes that he was gonna send back to Earth that had all the findings of his stuff. So he had to take the astrophage that was in there and use them as fuel to get back to their old ship, or Rocky's ship, so then they could figure out how to start breeding said predator and turning it into something that they could use to save the Earth. They figured out that the Tau Amoeba didn't like nitrogen. It didn't mind anything else, but nitrogen could not stand it. Died instantly with nitrogen. So they're like, oh, well, what if we just make it nitrogen resistant, and we'll train it up and we'll breed it up until it's nitrogen resistant. So that's what they do. They figure out how to do that, but in doing so, they need to build up like a testing facility, like a little mini testing area, so that they can breed the micro or the Tau Amoeba. So Rocky builds like his own like a xenonite little structure to put the Tau Amoeba in, and so just over time they start breeding the Tau Amoeba constantly inside these xenonite cubes or whatever you want to call them, to breed them to the correct nitrogen resistant levels. They figured out a way. It's no longer a suicide mission for Rylan to come to Tau Ceti. They've now figured out a way to get back. Like they have enough fuel from Rocky's ship that he can steal and use to get himself back to Earth, and Rocky has enough for him to get back to the homeworld. Everything's great. We built the nitrogen-resistant Tau Amoeba, and they're finally, Rylan and Rocky say their goodbyes, sadly, and they figure out they're gonna go their own separate ways. He's gonna go back to Earth, and he's gonna go back to homeworld. Everyone wins. That is until they throw you one last wrench in there, and they're like, hey. So you know all that Tau Amoeba that we've been breeding? Well, we did it inside of a xenonite container, and since we did so many breedings, the Tau Amoeba is now resistant, or can now go inside the xenonite, like inside the molecular structure of said xenonite, so like just inside, to hide itself from the nitrogen, which means not all Tau Amoeba died. So that means now Ryland's his fuel was starting to die, but he only noticed because of this testing that he was doing. Well, he figured out that that's how the Tau Amoeba were staying alive. And that's when there was a big uh-oh moment, and realized that all of Rocky's fuel, his astrophage, was now useless and probably was eaten because Rocky's ship is made out of xenonite and has no protection whatsoever from the Tau Amoeba now. So he realized Rocky was a sitting duck and basically dead in space. So he did the only thing that he had decided that was worth doing, was that he was going to give up his astrophage, send out the probes to Earth with the information needed to take out the astrophage. Sent those probes, turned his ship around, and went to go save his space alien friend. Which I'm not gonna lie, I would 100% do the same. If that meant you can go save his homeworld as well, if you sacrifice yourself, and be like, I can't go back to Earth then, I would totally do that. So he turns around, he goes back to Rocky, he finds him after like a month, and Rocky's still there, surprisingly. Like he didn't just off himself, thank goodness. I don't think they really think about that. But since he has no food to get home now, he didn't have enough food almost to begin with, but now he definitely doesn't have enough food to make the journey back to Earth. They decide that they're going to go back to Arid, which is Rocky's homeworld, because it's in the Iridia star system. So their planet is called Three World. So he goes back and ends up living on the planet. Like, he saved that planet's homeworld. He saved that planet's life. So in doing so, they took all their species, like made it so that they built a dome for him. They kept the Hail Mary in orbit around their planet, and he went and lived inside a dome on said planet, which is not meant for humans whatsoever. Like, he had to live in this special dome where he would die. But in doing so, he got to experience another planet and get back to being a teacher. But at some point, He could go back to Earth if he chose to. However, it's at least a 13-year trip. Because of time dilation, he's going to be trapped for 5, but he'll experience 13. So it's like, he's already old, he's in his 50s, almost 60. He's like, do I really want to travel 13 years to get back to Earth? I don't know. They just leave it up in the air. And the book ends. Whew. All right, so that was a lot. And I just want to say, like, this was the coolest book I've read in such a long time. It was very well done. It was very imaginative. I could see everything. I'm like, even like when they're doing the spaceship run, when they're traveling, when they're describing things inside the spaceship and how things work, and like the forces that are being applied, and the blacking out effect, the tunnel vision, and how the aliens work, and how there's this predator that eats the alien microorganism. It's so cool. And the fact that this has now become a movie starring Ryan Gosling. Damn. And it comes out in March. Dude, I'm psyched. Like, this was the coolest book. And yeah, I gave away a lot of spoilers, and I've never done a review before, so this is my first time. I don't know if it's a review or just me like describing what's happening, but I definitely didn't do it justice. And like, this is the coolest thing. I would love to read another one of his. Did you know he also did the movie The Martian? Or I guess he did the book first and then that got turned into a movie. So if you like The Martian, you'll definitely like this one. You'll definitely like Project Hail Mary. Yeah, just in my experience, I imagine this is what exactly it would be like to live and fly in space. Going to a different planet, you're experiencing everything that's going on in space. You learn all the mathematical things that happen in space, mathematical shit that takes place to get up into space, and the fact that if it comes down to it, yeah, I hope this is real, but in terms of like how humanity can come together. But that's what it'll take. It'll take an Earth-like disaster that affects everybody across the entire planet in order to come together as one humanity, not all these fucking borders everywhere. And be like, oh, you over there, you over there. No, we all come together because we're all for one common goal: save Earth. And it only matters when we start to die, and that's the sad part. But super cool that they were able to come together and save the world and save Earth. He was willing to sacrifice himself to save both planets. He's definitely willing to do that. So, one of my favorite books by far. Highly recommend Project Hail Mary. Definitely go see the movie when it comes out in March. I would 100% read the book because there's definitely going to be more stuff in the book than there probably is the movie, but I will be definitely interested to see the movie come in March, and I will probably do a side-by-side comparison of the book and the movie come then. But this has been my review for Project Hail